Well, it's official, guys. I have finally closed a handful of VA and FHA loans. What's up, guys? It's McKeown back again with another video this week, and today I'm going to discuss the local real estate market in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, as well as the real estate market in general. Now, if you've been following the recent trends, it's honestly been very painful for VA buyers or veteran buyers, as well as FHA buyers, individuals that have a little bit lower credit score, maybe a little bit lower down payment, and don't necessarily qualify for a conventional loan. Needless to say, the last 18 months or so, I have gotten very few of them under contract. Now, there has been a way to get around this. A lot of my FHA or VA buyers have been going new construction, but also if you haven't been following the new construction as well over the last 18 months, it's been very limited as far as inventory. So to give you guys an idea, back in 2017, when I actually first got licensed, you could pick an individual builder, pick a lot, as long as they have that lot being theirs. You could actually pick a floor plan and design it the way that you wanted to design it, sometimes a little bit more than others depending on the builder, but you had a lot of customization when it came to building your own house. For example, I'm going to use my situation back in 2020 when I met with a smaller builder that I actually met with an architect as well and designed my entire house from the ground up. Most builders, you're not going to meet with an architect and actually design the entire floor plan, but they are going to have already customized floor plans that may suit your needs. Now, to give you guys even more of an example, 2017 to probably 2019, you could really go to a builder, not only choose the floor plan, but you could choose the type of flooring you wanted, the color of the flooring, countertops, cabinets, and truly everything when it came to customizing your house. Fast forward to 2020, really the end of 2020 and the start of 2021, and moving into this year in 2022, you no longer could really customize anything when it came to building your own home. Now, there was a small minority that if you got on this massive wait list, you could actually decide to, have the selections of flooring, as well as cabinets, countertops, all that stuff, but it would take anywhere from 12 to 16 months depending on the builder. Most builders, though, were putting on some kind of bidding war or requiring you to make a significant deposit or just mass producing as many homes as possible. And as soon as the foundation kind of hit the floor running, they optioned it out to people on that wait list. And within minutes, if not hours, those homes were gone. Well, thanks to the slowing market, if you haven't been watching the last probably 45 to 60 days, the real estate market has absolutely slowed down. Now, interest rates rising has had a significant impact in that, but we're really back to where not necessarily 2017 and 2019 was in terms of being able to absolutely just customize your new home completely. But I know I could reach out today at the end of July in 2022 and actually get a new build under contract versus, let's say 6 months ago, I would have to wait probably 3 months just to be the top one on a waiting list. Now, let's get back on topic, guys, regarding VA loans and FHA loans. If you are someone that has struggled with this over the last 18 months, and let's say maybe you decided to continue to rent, or you decided that just purchasing a home wasn't a possibility, I do have some bad news. Obviously, I'm sure a majority of you are aware, interest rates have risen significantly. Now, with interest rates rising, this significantly impacts your purchasing power. And by purchasing power, that means, if you were to buy a house, and I actually refinanced a house in December of 2021 to about a 3.75% interest rate, and this was for a investment property. Usually investment property is about a full percent higher than a typical residential occupied home. So to give you an idea, if I actually occupied that home, I'd probably get a conventional loan in the high 2s. Unfortunately, those days are long gone. Now, if you were someone that decided to purchase in 2021, I say my hat's off to you. I actually had 2 purchases in 2021 as well as a commercial purchase in the early days of 2022, and I also closed on a commercial property in about May of 2022, and I got fortunate enough before interest rates started to climb. Now, I'm actually going to read to you guys what was posted just a couple days ago as far as going rates for conventional, VA, and FHA buyers, and just compare this to 6 or 7 months ago with what I just mentioned to you guys, being the fact that yes, I got an investment property for 3.75% on a 30-year conventional loan. Now let's compare that to today at the end of July in 2022. For FHA loans are typically going to be lower interest rates than conventional loans. Now, the reason for that is they have a significant mortgage insurance attached to them that you can never actually remove. So using an FHA loan, and it'll be truly comparable to a VA loan, you're looking really at about 4.5% right now. Now, if we compare that to, again, earlier, about maybe 6 months ago, and even so, interest rates have really started to mellow out over the last 30 days. I could say these are not even the worst that they got to. They've kind of fallen off a bit. You're looking at about 4.5 for an FHA loan and 4.5 for a VA loan. Now, if you slide on over and look at a conventional, you're looking at closer to 5%, which again, compared to an investment property, if you're looking at 5% for a residentially owner-occupied home, you're looking at nearly 6, if not in the 6s for an investment property. So let's run some numbers here real fast for you guys. If I had purchased the house that I actually purchased at the end of 2021, and instead I decided to purchase it now and closed on it, I'd be looking at a 6% interest rate rather than a 3.75% interest rate. Now, using the overall purchase of the property at $250,000 with 20% down, the difference is significant. We're talking about a mortgage payment north of $1,800 for a 6% interest rate. Now, because I didn't get a 6% interest rate, I actually got it at 3.75% interest rate, but I actually got it at 3.75. I'm only having to pay about $1,550. So that's a significant difference in mortgage cost of about $250 that I'm going to be able to cash flow for, technically, if I want to, for the next 30 years of that conventional loan. But the thing is, we have absolutely no control over these interest rates, guys. So at the end of the day, do we know where interest rates are going to go? Do we know where interest rates are headed in the next 12, 18, 24 months? No, but I can tell you, based off of just kind of what's happening in the real estate market, home prices are kind of mellowing out a little bit, but in my local market, the Dallas-Fort Worth market, it's cooling off, but it's definitely going to continue to rise. It's just not going to rise, we're talking home prices overall, at the same rate in which it did over the last couple years. So the question is for you guys, do you want to purchase now when interest rates are, in the 5s, maybe 6s, with really the unknown moving forward of potentially interest rates rising to the 6s, 7s, and 8s, we just don't know? Or do you want to hold off and kind of risk, I guess you could say, the interest rates rising or going down and the home prices rising or going down, because nothing is necessarily certain. Now, there is a saying I've been seeing a lot in the real estate industry. Obviously, I am a realtor. My job is to help you buy, sell, or invest. If you're obviously local in my market, just a little bit of tidbit here. If you aren't in my market, I can get you an agent in your market, but the saying is date the rate and marry the house. Now, what this means is if you find a house and you're in the market for a house, or maybe you're not even necessarily in the market for a house, but you find a house that you love, buy the house now. The reason being is if interest rates rise, you're going to be kicking yourself down the future, whether or not you're going to be sitting at a 7, 8, 10% interest rate, we don't know. But what we do know is that if interest rates do go down, let's say you purchased and closed within 30 days, and let's say in the next 18 months, interest rates significantly go back to maybe not necessarily where they were, but let's say ordinary, conventional loans are in the 3%, you can always refinance. Let's use me as another example for this, guys. So for instance, if I wanted to buy and I absolutely loved a single family rental in my local market, or maybe in another market, and I just couldn't hold off and I decided to buy that rental, obviously I'd be looking at the 6s in terms of my interest rate on a mortgage. But I also know that, hey, if the interest rates rise, that I'm locked in for the next 30 years at that interest rate. It's a fixed mortgage. Obviously, it's not an adjusted rate mortgage. So I know that interest rate is something that I'm going to have for the next 30 years. Now, on the flip side of things, if interest rates decide to fall, I can just go ahead and refinance that, and it's only going to mean that my house is going to cash flow even better. Now, this doesn't mean go and buy an investment property that's not cash flowing because you have a high interest rate. It still needs to make sense when it comes to buying an investment property, but if it does make sense in the 6s as far as interest rate goes, buy it now, because it's only going to make more sense if rates go down and you refinance. Now, heading back to VA loans and FHA loans. Now, how does this necessarily impact you guys? With the market softening and interest rates rising, as long as you can continue to afford a house, your opportunity to find a house is far greater now, and obviously is being seen across the market, because a lot of those VA buyers that I wasn't able to get under contract over the last 18 months, and especially all those FHA buyers that got extremely frustrated and decided to just continue to rent, well, now is your opportunity. Now, it's really going to be market dependent. There are certain markets that are going to cool off tremendously. Obviously, this is not guaranteed, but this is giving you an idea of really what markets across the country are going to be cooling off even further than other markets. Locally in the DFW area, we are very unlikely to see a significant cool off on home prices just because we are still very affordable here. But if it comes to buying a house versus renting, I'm always a strong advocate of buying a home. Now, I have had a lot of you reaching out to me personally, regardless if you're in my market or if you're in another market. Again, a majority of my net worth, and I have about 4 $4.5 million in real estate. I would say my net worth is north of $2 million. Majority of that is in appreciation and pay down from the real estate properties that I've purchased. Now, yes, a lot of that has come at just, I feel like, a very opportunistic time, but I can tell you, I'm gonna continue to purchase rental properties and I'm gonna continue to purchase real estate for the rest of my life. And honestly, I'm gonna purchase properties. Maybe I'll slow down a little bit here just to kind of get an idea of where the market's headed, but real estate's been the most impactful thing I've ever came across in my life. And honestly, it starts with just purchasing your first home. So if you're one of those FHA or VA buyers that have just gotten extremely frustrated with that market, and that doesn't even start with the fact that a majority of the homes especially the last 6 to 9 months, were multiple offers and just going absolutely crazy above asking. I would say in the last 45 days, I've been able to get people under contract that are not just FHA and VA, but I've also been able to negotiate repairs, which honestly wasn't a thing over the last 9 months. I've also been able to get people under asking, meaning, hey, if it's listed for $300,000, we can submit an offer for $275,000 and potentially get it. Now, it's property dependent, but I've also been able to get concessions or seller credits, meaning the seller is giving you money for closing, which I think it's been close to 2 years since I've gotten that for a client. So if you're not scared of where real estate is headed, and you're not really scared of the market or the interest rates, which honestly is a lot of what's causing the slowdown, just people are scared with where's the real estate market heading. If you know at the end of the day that you're going to be purchasing a house sooner rather than later, it's still a tremendous time right now to buy. And I'm not saying that because I'm a salesperson. Honestly, I didn't get into real estate to sell homes. I got into real estate because I wanted to help people invest. And that was something that I personally was starting to do on my own. But it all started with buying a house. And regardless if interest rates are high right now, you're going to look like a fool if they go up to 7, 8, or 9%. Also, on the flip side, if you're only looking to buy a house for a year or two, maybe I would reconsider, just because you don't know where the market's headed. But as long as you buy a house, just like the stock market, and a lot of people are freaking out because the stock market crashed and all of the different stocks are doing horribly. I have a couple investment accounts, including a SEP IRA, that I'm just putting money in and I'm leaving it until I'm in my 60s. I'm not saying, hey, if you buy a house, you got to keep it until you're in your 60s, but as long as you keep a house probably north of 3 years, you're going to be just fine. So once again, if you are a veteran using your VA loan, or if you're a first-time home buyer trying to use an FHA loan, the only reason I would kind of steer clear of this local real estate market is if you're only looking to live here for a couple years. Other than that, with the high interest rates that we're seeing now and a little bit of movement in the real estate market allowing you to negotiate kind of, a sweeter deal, I would jump on the opportunity now. Now, guys, if you have any real estate oriented questions, I'd love to help you answer them. Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section down below, or feel free to reach out to me via email or DMs on my Instagram. I try my best to get back to every single person that reaches out. But again, I appreciate all of your guys' support. Make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help, and stay tuned for the next video.